Do you do your homework in the dark? Well, turn on the lights. It's Lofi Poli Sci coming at you. Michael Pickering here talking our famous question, what's going on in the world today? And let's go with that Lo-Fi Global. First up, let's travel to Chile and the Atacama Desert, where fast fashion goes to die. Now, if you're not familiar with fast fashion, the short version is it's the overconsumption and waste of clothing, the throwing away of completely good clothes, the replacing of that clothes with new clothes, and the throwing away of that completely good clothes, and etc., etc. And most of that perfectly good clothing ends up in a garbage dump. See, fast fashion promotes consumerism to the max and adds a ton to environmental degradation. But this story here talks about the Atacama Desert, which receives more clothes dumping than any other South American country, and how a lot of that clothes isn't resold. It's burned, or just sits there. And because more and more clothing is made of polyester, it takes way longer for it to decompose than cotton. Now, for people who live in and around these dumps in the Atacama Desert in Chile, well, when this clothing is burned, that goes straight into the air they breathe and into their lungs. And you already know, breathing smoke from burnt polyester, well, it ain't good. And of course, you already know too, that smoke doesn't just stay in Chile, it goes into all our air. And these clothing dumps in the Atacama Desert are just a few that exist around the world. Wake up, lo-fi listeners. Fast fashion, it's an environmental issue. Now let's head on over to India, where the social media app Coup provides an alternative to Twitter. Though why anyone would want to leave Twitter for something better, I do not know at all. But Coup is growing strong in India, and it's looking to become the dominant Twitter-like app in India this year. And they have no intention of stopping there. They want to go global and really compete with other social media giants. And I love this story because it really makes you think. So often in the West, we think of the internet as a Western thing, as being dominated by Western social media companies. But the reality is, while that may have been true/is true, the internet is always evolving. And to think that the majority of the world will use Western developed social media apps into the future? Yeah, that's not happening. And that's exactly why Western companies have begun investing so heavily across the world, because they see the writing on the wall. And wouldn't it be interesting if internet users in the West started using non-Western social media apps to have a more, I don't know, global connection to people everywhere? Interesting times indeed that we live in. Write in, people. I want your thoughts on this. Do you think Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube are their days numbered? As always, I'm curious your thoughts. And yes, write in, people. I'm serious. All right. Let's switch gears a bit with this next one. Or really, next two. And check out what's going down with Ecuador and China and Argentina and China. So these are two separate stories, but really, they're most certainly connected. You see, the president of China met with each of the presidents of Ecuador and Argentina this weekend. And China is Ecuador's number one lender in financing. And they are working to restructure the debt that Ecuador owes China, and are working on a free trade agreement between the two countries. And for Argentina, they've been suffering from a serious economic recession, and China's been trying to help them out by strengthening the Argentinian dollar. And the leaders talked about the development and investment in Argentina of infrastructure programs that would be linked to the One Belt and Road initiative that China's been developing for years. Remember a few weeks back we talked about how Sri Lanka, who is part of the One Belt and Road initiative, was in talks with China to restructure their debt? And how that would be a key signal to other countries around the world who need to do the same thing? We'll say hello to Ecuador and Argentina. People, this is massive. This is exactly what we've been talking about for a while. It's the coming together of an international economic system that's an alternative to the post-World War II system put in place by the West. And as this system helps more developing countries, even more countries will want to sign up to it. Interesting times we live in, eh? Next up, an update on yet another one of our top 10 global events to watch in 2022. Iran-Saudi Arabian relations. We recently talked about how these two countries are commonly referred to as regional rivals, but how, if that changes, Middle Eastern political power could drastically shift on the world stage, and several conflicts in the region could end. We talked about how last year the two countries did meet to have a few talks in Iraq. And this weekend, the president of Iran says his country is open to more talks with Saudi Arabia about restoring diplomatic ties that were severed, so long as those talks were held with mutual respect. I can't say it enough, Lo-Fi listeners. Keep an eye on this one, and look out for Saudi Arabia's response, and to the potential of a meeting coming sooner rather than later between these two countries. The world's changing. Or rather, people are growing. Perhaps? ? You tell me, right in. And a last bit of Lo-Fi Global, just for the moment, of course. And also, another update to one of our top 10 global events to watch 2022. And that's the decline of Tunisian democracy. As the plot thickens this weekend, Lo-Fi listeners, the president, who last year dismissed parliament, fired the prime minister, well, this weekend, he dissolved the Supreme Judicial Council of the country. People, he's literally taken out the legislature and the judiciary of the country and has only left himself and the military in power. You don't get much more authoritarian than that. Though the judiciary aren't taking this lying down. They're saying the president doesn't have the power to do this, and it's illegal. But we'll have to wait and see just what they do, and the president's response to them. But also, and perhaps more importantly, we have to see what the people of Tunisia do about this. Because if the Arab Spring that started in Tunisia has taught us anything, it's that the power does lie with the people. Eyes open and ears to the ground, listeners. And you tell me if you hear something first in Tunisia. Yes, indeed. A lot going on around the world, that's for sure. But now let's switch gears a little bit and cue in some music and get you that 5-day Metro New Orleans weather and your weekend box office report. Everyone always wants to know, is it cloudy with a chance of meatballs? We got you covered, Nola. Monday, a 19% chance of meatballs, and it is cloudy. Temps between 53 and 40 degrees. Then, and have we been waiting for it? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, sunny skies expected with almost no chance of rain this week. Goodness, we need some sunshine in our lives, yes indeed. Tuesday, temps are 53 to 38. Getting chilly on Tuesday night. Wednesday, temps 58 to 40. Thursday, temps 44 to 65. Yes, please, that's what I'm talking about. And Friday, 44 to 66 degrees. Yes, this is the New Orleans winter I've been waiting for. Beautiful, sunny, and I can wear my sweaters finally. And that's your 5-day weather, Nola, but always remember, it is New Orleans. It could rain any day and every day. Don't forget to look outside before you walk outside. That's what I like to say. Now, how about that weekend box office? Now, stop the music. You know, I like movies. I like looking at the box office because, in a way, it kind of tells us, what the country's up to. It kind of tells us what people are doing when they walk outside their house. And it also tells us about our art culture. You see, movies are most certainly a type of art, and it fascinates me to no end to see what kind of cinema people are actually consuming, what kind of art they look in for a movie. Because as we all know, sometimes a certain piece of cinema art comes out and we're just like, WTF. To the box office, let's go. What did people check out at cinemas this weekend? Well, coming in at number 5, Sing 2, with another 4.1 million at the box office. Number 4, Scream number 6,573 because they made so many we lost count, and it took in another 4.7 million in ticket window sales. Number 3, and finally dethroned from number 1, Spider-Man No Way Home with another 9.6 million. Number 2, Moonfall with 10 million at the movies. And number 1, the highest grossing film this weekend at the US box office? Jackass Forever, with 23.5 million in ticket sales. Spider-Man, dethroned by Jackass Forever. Wouldn't you go figure? And did you check out a movie this weekend? What'd you go see? How was it? Record a quick review, send it in. We'll play it on air. And theater concessions or dollar store treats? What's your go? All right, enough. Cue the music. It's time for that deep dive in Connecting the Dots. Connecting the Dots, we go into one global news story, dig into the heart of it all, and then let you know why it all matters. And today we're talking about the end of the International Space Station. And yes, you heard me right. Nothing lasts forever, and the end draws near for the planet Earth's first International Space Station. But let's start off with a brief background to set up our conversation to inform us about what's really going on in the world today. You see, a lot of us learned in school that the International Space Station that we think of today was in fact the first and only space station ever. That, however, is in fact not true. The Russians back in 1969 started this out, linking two separate space entities together, and others did the same thing. The International Space Station that we generally think about has been the largest and pulled together more people from more countries than any other. But it wasn't the first. So it should come as no surprise that it's not going to be the last, and it will be replaced by something bigger and better. But what? All right, though. Now that the stage is set, let's dig into the meat and potatoes of it all and talk about what's going on right now with NASA. And you see, this past week, NASA notified Congress in the United States that they will crash land the space station into Point Nemo in the South Pacific Oceanic uninhabited area in 2031. So just in 9 years. And P.S., I'm sure the fish in that area feel that it's pretty inhabited. But I digress. Well, you know what? No, I do not digress. It's just like human beings to go crash landing or exploding bombs wherever we want and kill all the animals we want just because people don't live near there. I mean, come on, we can do better than that. I mean, we built a space station. Surely there's a better alternative than crashing it into the ocean. Help the effort, people. Save the fishies. And P.S., fishies is a perfectly acceptable plural form of fish to indicate a strong love and affinity for all fishies in the sea. End rant. Okay. Now that we know the background, we got the situation on the ground. Let's see how it's all connected to the rest of the world. So, straight up, NASA has already started relying on commercial flights to get to space. And in the future, they're going to rely on commercial-built space stations. Yeah, you heard me right. I mean, imagine the Coca-Cola International Space Station, or the Mercedes-Benz International Space Hub, or, and goodness help us if this the Meta Station. And we won't even go there, but you know what I mean. But NASA is going to pull its funding and resources to space activities and research, not to flying or maintaining a space station. And while that does allow for NASA to focus its efforts for sure, but do we really want to commercialize space like we commercialized everything down here? Question mark. Now, we ain't your grandpappy's Fox nor your sister's CNN. We Lofi Poli Sci, which means we bring that political science perspective to what's going on in the world today. And we talk about what's going on in the world tomorrow. Political science is about predictions, so let's make some and see where this story may go moving forward. I think the short answer and the short prediction is the commercialization of space has already begun, and it's going to continue, period. At least for Western countries' corporations. China's well on their way to finishing their space station this year, and it will not play out the same for them. And Japan is working on some moon stuff for people to actually live there. And how involved the government is in comparison to corporations is a bit of a question mark, though Japan's government and corporate sector have historically been intrinsically connected, so I'd expect a continuation of that for them. But I think the most likely outcome for space stations, moon bases, and space exploration in general is we'll see a basic extension of what we have here on Earth, just replicated in space. Different countries and corporations will mark their own territory. Everybody does their own thing. People argue, people get over it, and humans just keep being humans. If Hollywood movies have been great at one thing having to do with futuristic space movies, it's been getting everything totally wrong. We move at a much slower pace than the movies would make us, and the 200 countries in the world, well, their governments aren't as pro change and collaboration as we'd wish they were. Thus, we'll take what we have here on Earth and transplant it to space. Simple as that. But with all that being said, right about now you just may be wondering, so what? Why should we give two shits about space and all that? We're here on Earth and most likely none of us are ever going to go to space, so who cares? Who cares? And the quick answer I'll always give you first, and you already know. I cannot, nor will I ever, tell you that you should care about something. What you care about is your business, and people are different and diverse. Instead, what I'll do is I'll tell you why this story matters to me. And as a political scientist, and specifically one that focuses on comparative politics and global trends of freedoms humanity possesses, a large and important part of our understanding of where we are as human beings today and where we're going tomorrow is informed by a rather real and hard to talk about conversation about the colonization and the exploitation of the world by Western countries that took place from the 1400s to the 1900s, and via neocolonization even continues on to today. You see, for all the wonderful things we have in our lives today, we surely got here by taking advantage of and doing horrible things to our fellow human beings. The success of our species has most certainly been at the expense of our species. And we are still struggling to reconcile those mistakes today. And many of us are still making those mistakes. You see, if we take what we have today and simply replicate it in space, then it promises to be just as exploitative and damaging to many of our fellow human beings. The stars, that's supposed to be the new chance for all humanity. And to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results? Well, that's just crazy, ain't it? This story is important to me because it holds the keys to what we as people will be in the future. Because we are literally shaping the universe that our children and grandchildren will be born into. It's important to me because it's our choice how humanity evolves. And that, my friends, is connecting the dots, Lofi Poli Sci style. All right, let's chill for a second. Let's reset. Cue some music, and be back in just a second with the trade-off with our friend Gregory Day. Gregory Day of Hipsville AD joining the show today. How are you, my friend?
Man, I'm fantastic. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good, doing good. All right, let's get into this and tell the good people at home what this trade-off segment's all about.
Yeah, man, it's where we kind of exchange music for the week and each other's feedback and hopefully share something good with each other.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's dive right into it. You want to go first or second?
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. Kind of talk about what you sent me last week. This excellent piece of music called "The Captain's Dance" by Marcus Warner. You know, I really dug this track. I hadn't listened to anything of any kind of like Celtic music in quite a while, like a really long time. And this kind of brought back some comforting memories of maybe flogging Molly or Dropkick Murphys, but in a more traditional sense.
Sure.
Yeah, just kind of warm and comforting sound at the beginning of this track where it comes in with these drums and bagpipes and accordion. And I just want to say that I don't think the accordion gets enough love in mainstream music. I think I just really love the accordion, and there's certain great music avenues where it is, but I think you could have a little more love. Yeah, so like this thing just starts with this really sort of mellow beat and these miracle these musical uh um flourishes of bagpipes and accordions, but it starts to really kick off into this epic portion, the middle, and it concludes this way with this what feels like a great adventure story. It's the captain's dance, where I thought maybe it was a celebration of the captain, but it's definitely almost like a call to arms by the end of this track. I really dug it, man. Thanks for sharing it.
Yeah, man, I like this track a whole lot. It's like, for me, why I chose this song this time, it's because, well, for me, it's the beginning of the semester. Like, we're just getting started off, and I'm listening to a lot of music that really gets me going and amps me up for classes. And this song right here, but first off, so this is Marcus Warner. He's a composer and a songwriter from England and the UK, and he uses, like you said, accordions and Celtic bagpipes. He also uses orchestras. And this song here, The Captain's Dance, just calls to me as it mixes that orchestra with traditional Celtic folk music. And then it gives off a bit of a piratey vibe too, I get from it, like you talking
Hmm.
about at the end of it, it just kind of ramps up and gets you going. And at 3 minutes and 33 seconds, it's a fast paced yet relaxing journey that kind of hypes me up and makes me want to go on a voyage around the world. And I can listen to this on the morning and just feel ready to do anything. It is one of my favorite instrumentals of all time, even though honestly, I had only heard about this track last year as a friend of mine made a pirate playlist for me, and this was one of the songs on it.
Oh,
So shout
nice.
out to that person there.
That's really cool. Yeah, and I would say, yeah, to your point, it's only 3.5 minutes long, and it really takes you on so many different. It takes you to so many different places in such a short amount of time.
Oh, for sure, man, for sure. All right, let's go ahead and do yours. Sandro Galileo's Cliff Diver. You want to go first or second?
What you thought about it, and then I'll kind of elaborate on where this piece of music comes from.
All right, all right. So, what I did is I listened to this first, and then I listened to it again, and then I listened to it again. And I was like, all right, let me do it like this. Let me just write down one word at a time of like the first words that came to my mind all throughout the progression of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you those words that came to me.
Okay.
So, and this was the order that they came to me in. So funky, fresh, psychedelic, guitar, reverb, melodic, tranquil, chill. Like, and the keyboards are killing it through the background the whole way through. And this song just gave me a phenomenal, relaxed vibe. Like, I could listen to this whilst doing anything, just have this popped on in the background, and it wouldn't matter what I was doing, and it would be a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And I could listen to the song on repeat and not get tired of it because it's just what, 2 minutes and 33 seconds?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, it's a great listen because it doesn't get repetitive because it's short, but because it's short, it leaves you wanting more. And it's just chill, man. I like this one a whole lot. This is one of the best instrumentals I've heard for a long time.
Yeah, man, it's a really great tune. It's just sort of a chill vibe to it. And I'll say that so the origin of this song, it's Sandro Galileo was a film composer, Italian film composer, and I guess last year or so, some some people unearthed this score for a film that never got made. So the score was written, the film was never made, and this band called the Eraserhood Sound, who is the band that recorded the record, recorded the music for this imaginary film now. And so
Wow.
yeah, so the film was supposed to have been set on an island about a guy who's missing his dead girlfriend, and he goes to the island and he finds her ghost there, and he kind of has these 2 weeks to decide whether he wants to leave the island or go into the afterlife with her. Um, and so what I get out of this tune is that it's called Cliff Diver, and I imagine it's just this leisure of getting to an island and just the vacation vibe of getting there. Um, Sort of this magical floating feeling of being in the water, or even maybe dreaming, um, drifting away in some regards. But yeah, it's an interesting thing because this tune's was written for the 70s and they were never produced. And then this band, Eraserhead Sound, comes in and records this album and drops it last year. And it sounds brand new, even though it's got all these old influences. But yeah, it's just, to me, it was one of the catchiest things that came out last year.
Oh, for sure, man. And I'll tell you, like that guitar they had and the reverb they used, it did make me feel like a little Carlos Santana at times too, which
Mm-hmm.
I dig a lot. He's
Mm-hmm.
awesome on the guitar. But
Yeah.
I like the backstory for this one. So for a film that never came out, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, well then, let's talk about what we're going to be listening to next week. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I got this track called All That Matters Is the Moments by The Comet Is Coming, featuring Joshua Idihin. I may have mispronounced his last name, but it's a little new jazz, like brand new kind of jazz movement going on these days, mixing electronic and traditional jazz elements and some like Caribbean and other African style. So I'm really interested to see what you're going to think about this one.
Awesome, awesome. Give me the name again.
The band is called The Comet Is Coming, and
The Comet is Coming.
the track is called All That Matters Is the Moments.
All that matters is the moment. All right, man. I look forward to that. And for you, I decided to go a little something different. It's by a person slash band slash composing group called Robo. That's Reaubeau, one word, Robo. And the name of the song is Level Up, featuring Aristotle's and Mona Lisa. And I cannot wait to see what you think about this one, my friend.
All right. Sounds interesting.
All right, and for all you listeners out there, send in your thoughts as well and let us know what you think about the music. And maybe we'll go ahead and read your comments out on the show. And Gregory Day, until next time, turn it up and play it loud.
Peace, brother.
All right, we'll be right back, Lo-Fi listeners. Yes, indeed. I always love some funky freshness right before we hit that Lo-Fi Global Trivia. And big thanks again to Gregory Day of Hipsville AD for coming and talk music with us. But now, it's time for that Lo-Fi Global Trivia. We'll be coming at you with 5 fast-paced global trivia questions and give you 5 seconds to answer. And today, we're going to use trivia to give you a sneak peek into a 9-part miniseries we're doing on Tuesday's Top 10s called Our World in Numbers. The first episode in the series drops tomorrow, so stay tuned. All right, question number 1. What's the economic indicator that represents the total value of all final goods and services produced in a country in one calendar year? And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Survey says gross domestic product, aka GDP. And if you divide GDP by the population of a country, well, we call that GDP per capita. Now you know. Question number 2. What's the commonly used economic variable that measures income inequality in a country? And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Survey says the Gini index, or Gini coefficient. And number 3. What's the composite / development indicator that measures a country's health, income, and education? And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Survey says that would be the Human Development Index, aka HDI. Number 4. What economic / development indicator is the best to use when trying to see a country's overall growth and development? And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Our answer? Trick question. The answer is none. You have to use them all and use them over time. And our last one for the day, number 5. What's my favorite indicator to use? And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Survey says, oh, go ahead and write in on this one. I kind of want to do a little survey and maybe post up next week and let everyone know what you think I'm thinking. And that's Lo-Fi Global Trivia for you for the week. Write in, let us know what you get right, or even better, write in and let us know why you think we were wrong. We may even read your message on air. All right, let's chill for a second. Cue some music up. And I felt a little experimental with this next piece. We've got a brand new Lofi Poli Sci mix. Feel it, people. This one's for you, since I wasn't around on Friday. I call this piece For You, so you know I'm here. We'll be back in a minute. Yes, my friends, I'm always here for you. And perhaps that'll be the beginning of Lofi Poli Sci Study Beats Volume 2. We'll just have to wait and see. Now, this is your moment, Lo-Fi listeners, for all your write-ins, recordings, and your words and voice that everyone wants to hear. And let's see just what you had to say. And we actually had our first write-in this week. I'm so excited. So let us go and see what Lo-Fi listener Kayla had to say. So last week during Lo-Fi Global Trivia, we talked about how Greenland is part of Denmark and asked all you out there, could you place Denmark on a map? And Kayla wrote in saying, I always remember it as the country that looks like a ballpoint pen. Easy, right? Pinmark. I also had to give a presentation on Denmark in the 4th grade and elected to reconstruct Igaskov Castle with Legos. As we all know, Legos were invented by a Danish toy maker. Fun facts for all. So this is great for so many reasons. I mean, finding awesome ways like this to help you remember geography, global geography, is great. It's awesome. And I did not know that Legos were created by a Danish toy maker. So, of course, I had to look it up. And sure enough, Ole Kirk Christensen of Denmark in 1932 founded the Lego Group, which Lego comes from 2 Danish words, leg, godt, which means play well. I love it. I love it so much. Thank you, Kayla, for writing in and teaching us something new. And to all you other lo-fi listeners out there, write in too, people. Don't be afraid to get your nerd on with us. We celebrate the inner nerd within us all and help teach us all about the world in which we live. And also a shout out to write-ins. We're still looking for a name for Monday and Friday shows. At the moment, I'm just using Lo-Fi Global for Mondays and a weekend review for Fridays. But those are both just temporary placeholders until you find something better. All right, let's tune the music in and then turn it down. It's Lo-Fi Story Time with Pickering. And each story time, I'm going to give you a piece of me, a story of my life. And for today, I want to talk about slipping on ice. And this is one of the earliest memories I have as a child, and really one of the very few old memories that I have. I was maybe 5 or 6 years old. It was winter, and it snowed one day. And being born and raised in Louisiana, we never see snow. I think that was maybe the second time in my life that I had seen snow. So I was with the neighborhood kids playing, running around the streets, throwing snowballs, and we were on the sidewalks, and we were in the street, and then a car was coming. We all get off the road so we could pass. But I was standing on the curb of the road, the cement incline that goes from the road to the grass. Well, it was covered in ice, and I slipped, and I slid into the road and hit the car that was passing by. Now, the car was going incredibly slow, and I was perfectly fine, but, talk about scared the shit out of everyone. None of us knew about ICE and how it worked. We were little kids. And so everyone checked me out. The driver got out the car. I was good to go and wanted to keep playing, but everyone decided, no, I needed to go home. It wasn't safe for me to be out. I was too little, and I needed to let my parents know what happened so they could check me out too. So I left. And mind you, we were only 5 or 6 houses away from my house, But I started walking, and then I decided I didn't want to go home. I was mad. Nobody wanted to play with me. So I ducked off in between some houses and went walk around this little wooded area behind our house and played by myself in the snowy woods. I'd never seen anything like that before, so it was kind of cool, And plus, if no one else was going to play with me, I was going to do my own thing. But a little while later, I left. I went home because it was cold as hell outside, and what do I know as a 5 or 6-year-old being out in the snow? I wanted to go inside. So, frowny face and all, I went in, and my parents already heard about what had happened, and wanted to know where I'd been, and if I was okay, and, everyone was busy looking for me. And they explained that they were not mad at me at all, and if anything, they were upset with the other kids and people for not walking me home afterwards. Because remember, I was 5 or 6 years old. You would think someone would walk that kid home, but it was a different time. How many years ago was that? Oh, I don't know. Right in. You tell me how old I am. But I think from my part, looking back, I think this is the first time I can remember that I slipped and fell and felt embarrassed or ashamed and didn't want to face other people about what had happened to me. And let me tell you, Lo-Fi listeners, since then, I've slipped many, many times in my life. And each and every one of them, a sense of embarrassment came right after. I didn't want to have to see the people or talk about what had happened with anyone. I just wanted to forget about it and move on. But that's not how we grow. It's not how we learn. It's not how we cope. You see, even today, I slip. I fall. And I look to learn from my mistakes, to become a better person. Today, I remember it's not about the misstep I make, for the past does not define me. It's rather about the choice I make walking forward, and how I choose to define myself tomorrow. We all slip and fall. What we do after is what matters. And if you ever need a hand getting up, I'm here. We're here. And that's what it means, the we that we be. But this is just another Lo-Fi story time. We'll be right back with some news to close us out. We got another new Lofi Poli Sci original mix here. I'm thinking of calling this one Lo-Fi Airport Jam Session. Though write in if you got a better name. Back in a second. Makes me feel like I'm in an airport. And we're back with the last few pieces of news to send you on your way for the day, sending us out with some not-so-heavy headlines in our ending segment, Help the Effort. And Iceland appears to be ending whaling by 2024. Nice. Help the effort. Save the whales. And the internet in all its glory is once again adding to an existing problem of the net, making it easier for the illegal selling of parrots. Not so nice. Help the effort. Save the parrots. And out in France, beer makers are making blue beer with algae. Ooh, help the effort save the algae and the color of your stomach. I don't know what to do with this one, people. And a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the first successful pig heart transplant into a human being. And write in if you've seen an update on that one, because we alls gots to know, and I haven't heard anything. But out in Germany, now scientists are getting ready to breed more pigs for more of these kinds of heart transplants. Interesting, huh? Help the effort save people and the pigs, I guess. I don't know what to do about this one either. People write in. And a last piece of news to send you on your way for the week. NPR has put out a really cool piece about Pakistani truck painting. And do yourself a favor, listeners. Check out these beautiful pictures of hand-painted trucks in Pakistan. Help the effort. Turn our highways into art. Yeah, turn our highways into art. I can get behind that one. And that is a brief snapshot of what's going on in the world today. Right into the show and check us out at lofipolisci.com. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, myself on LinkedIn. Connect to us, people. And check out Friday's latest blog post. And check out Letters of the Lofi Poli Sci that came out Saturday. Always remember that Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Talk to you next time, Lo-Fi listeners. Pickering, signing off. A little behind the scenes for all you listeners that stuck around. Thank you for all your kind words this week. After what happened. Your words made all the difference. It was you that got me through this week.